I'll give about three after, and then we'll start getting you guys rolling here. We got a good topic that um, I think is important that goes with nutrition. It's going to be more of the some of the emotional responses around nutrition and what does that look like for each individual. So it's I think it's an area that's probably just as impactful as the general knowledge of nutrition because a lot of times what we see is the habits and emotional ties to nutrition are corresponding. Um, and then identifying and understanding some of those corresponding reactions can have very impactful results for people uh, with their ability to make changes around uh, some of the responses they have. So it's a lot about control and state and understanding and being aware. But so what I did is I took you guys' topics and broke them down. So I laid out uh, calls for the next couple weeks, which I'll kick those out and I'll have the topic information within the email and or post so that way you guys know what the call is about. Give another minute here and then we'll get you going. All right, so I'm gonna go ahead and share over my info and then we'll get you rolling with this. It's not that one. So what we're going to talk about, and this is again, this is a topic that has a lot of validity uh, and it can be a big component of how people respond to nutrition in general, food, emotional responses, habits. There's a correlation here, and a lot of times it's not necessarily the food. So food isn't the problem. It's learning how to identify and rewrite some of our habits, responses, and triggers around food, because food does have a can cause a chemical response that causes addiction type um, activities in individuals where you get some almost like a dopamine response, a response to make you feel a certain way. Obviously with sugars, there's energy correlation, a feeling, a stimulation. So there's a lot of different responses that food cause now. It's more about what is put in the food that causes the response and how it responds in the body. So being aware of those things and then really digging in on rewriting and understanding how you respond and how maybe from an emotional standpoint or habit standpoint, you are using those chemical responses to get you or consume certain types of foods and or maybe overconsume foods. So food isn't your enemy. It's really a messenger, and it is a nutrient component, and it was designed for us to obviously survival. But it's turned into something else nowadays because of the marketplace. So when most people think about nutrition or try to fix their nutrition without addressing other components, their emotional and environmental aspects, it can slow them down in the process. Or what we see is they'll see a progression and then they'll start to backslide because they may have not addressed a couple of these things. And I will talk about both and give you some different perspectives on on these topics because I think it's a very powerful topic and it goes right along with the training that Aaron and I have gone through with uh, NLP, neuro linguistic programming, how we view the world, how we respond to stress, how we manage our states, communication patterns with the language. So there's a lot that goes on there. But anyway, when you fix or identify the root cause, obviously we can manipulate the outcome better and the symptoms fade. So the since I didn't take a couple of these things out here, but anyway, I would ask you guys from an emotional standpoint is and certain people will respond to emotional triggers towards food. Certain people will not. That's just more of a program or a response that you personally have. So some people can resonate more with the emotional response to food. Some people do not have those triggers, and that's again that goes a little bit deeper based upon environment, what you've been exposed to, um, some of the programs you carry, your experiences and things of that nature. And we will talk a little bit more in depth in those scenarios as well. So why would we reach for food? Obviously, there's a hunger component or hunger response. That's a natural response. We're supposed to have that. Uh, and then does it become a habit? So sometimes we think we're really hungry or we get triggered by that hunger response and we instantly think we have to have food to tamp it down. It's okay to have some hunger throughout the day and manage that. And really, it becomes can you kind of tamp that back down and keep moving forward without obviously um, consuming uh, in different frames. Obviously, you know, we don't want you to walk around being starving all the time because then your ambition and drive will change. But having some hunger responses is a good thing. It's just how you control that. And how does your habit response towards hunger look for you personally? You just have to be aware of that. So what we see, and this happens with individuals, some of these components come in with food or consumption of food is what was the stress like? Is there a boredom factor? Is fatigue a trigger? Because sometimes your energy response, if you're chasing energy, and then comfort seeking. So what we need to do as individuals is kind of identify and look at these situations through a different lens. And it's okay to evaluate before you just go into uh, those habits where they're almost built in, where you always do the same thing over and over and over. We need to be more aware around the food in general. So what we see is food becomes a coping mechanism, not a fuel. So then we overconsume. Again, we may be getting some dopamine hits and things of that nature from the food, energy burst from the food, and a feel good from the food. When that happens, what we see is we see a cycle or overconsumption. So we go back to that specific foods, just like alcohol as well. There's different ways, and alcohol is a chemical as well, and it's well, it's technically a poison, but it does the same thing or can do the same thing with some of the responses we have towards that chemical. So when we look at it becomes a mechanism, not a fuel, and it could be a trigger, emotional, action, relief, guilt, repeat. So we see some patterns with individuals. Our goal is to identify the patterns and break the cycle before it continues, or identifying it and really addressing it and changing some of the responses we have. Because I'm going to give you some tools and some awareness components that you can implement to try to break some of the cycles or habits or programs you are currently running, whether you know it or not. But one thing is we have to be more self-aware of how our patterns are around food. What does it look like? Because if we always did it the same way, doesn't mean we can't change. Um, just because we do, a or we have a customer, we do it a certain way. Sometimes we have to rewrite and rechange our patterns to become a new version of ourselves to see the results that we desire and get those results to stick long term. So here are some of the hidden drivers, common emotional triggers that we see. Obviously, stress from work or relationships, fatigue or lack of sleep. Again, if we're chasing energy, a lot of times we may overconsume because we, or we consume some of the foods that are going to spike our insulin and give her that really energy burst, and then we'll cycle it and wash, rinse, repeat. So feeling out of control or overwhelmed, again, it may be a coping mechanism for those situations for individuals. Boredom or lack of stimulation. Again, you would see the boredom or lack of stimulation if you've had a habit around watching TV and consuming food. We see that being something that people will overconsume, not even realize they have in those situations. Or sometimes an emotional void, needing comfort or reward. Again, if we're getting that stimulation from that specific food, it becomes more of an addiction type response, and then we go back to that food because it gives us a certain um, again, dopamine hit, response, energy, whatever it looks like for you. And it's not really willpower. Yes, willpower does go a long way, but what we want to do is empower you with knowledge and awareness and become the person who can navigate these situations and make it a win-win. So things that we have cued people to try to identify this is journaling, you know, making sure you're more aware, which all of you, most of you should be journaling in some format because if we're not tracking, it's all feedback. The more feedback and data points you can be aware of, the better decisions you guys can make. So what you can also do is in certain situations and journal this is uh, when you consume food or if you overconsume, were you really hungry or not? Or was it a boredom component? Was there an emotional response to that? Because again, you want to have awareness if you see some of these patterns in your own environment. Because a lot of times we have some of these things go on and we are we just overlook them. We're going through our days so fast and we get into these patterns that we're not stepping back and really being aware or present with what is actually going on. So being aware, journaling, making sure that if you do have, if you're overeating, what does that look like? Were you truly hungry? Was there emotional response? Just being more aware and getting those data points down. So awareness is going to give you more power. Just like I said, tracking. If you don't track, you are not going to allow yourself to move in the right direction because it's data points. That's just like anything. What we do. If we're not tracking numbers, if we're not looking at things, then we don't know what direction we're going. So, but you want to recognize the patterns. When do you snack or overeat? And like I said, what these become are programs that are running in the background, and we have to be aware of those programs, and then being aware of the programs and understanding why we may do some of these components, and then we can fix them in different. There's different ways to fix them. So what emotions or thoughts come, right before if we overconsume or overeat? You want to be aware of that, because lessons learned typically will not repeat themselves. But if there's emotional response, well, we want to figure out why we have that emotional response. What's the lesson that we can pull from that? And once we learn that lesson, we can let it go and move on from it because you have 100% control. It's just sometimes we let our emotional response and programs control us. So what you can do is reframe. I'm going to talk about language a lot and understanding and looking at the world with a different lens. So you want to try to be very aware of language patterns too. I know that's some of that stuff is in our mindset training, and it can be very powerful. So I'm not hungry. I'm. I'm anxious. So maybe you're identifying what patterns you are. The only thing that I don't want you to get confused with is taking on labels as well. So be careful of labeling yourself a certain thing. Okay. You're just having anxiety. You're not an anxious person. You see, that's okay to say it that way. Even in this writing, I don't like from an NLP standpoint is taking on anxiety. Because again, you don't want to label yourself in specific formats. So I'm not tired. I'm avoiding the task. Again, it's being aware of the situation and making sure that you're clear on what's going on. Okay. And then what we want to do is redirect our energy or focus. You pause, be aware. You can do the breathing. Controlling your central nervous system and emotional response is so powerful because, again, the person who has the most control is going to control the situation. And a lot of times we just let our emotion control us, and we really want to have control of the emotional response. So then you have the ultimate choice to choose a better outlet or break that pattern or cycle. So here's some tactical tools you can implement, but if, before you implement it, you got to be aware. So really getting super aware of how your responses, emotional components around food are. That's step number one. Step two is being able to control the emotional response around that. So tactical tools, obviously the pause rule, wait 10 minutes before eating or really evaluate your situation because I'm guilty of this sometimes, and this is part of having two older siblings. I had two older twin brothers that were I have two older twin brothers that are 3 years older than me, and when the good food was out, it didn't stay around long. So um, I would always, when I first met Aaron, eat really, really quick. And that was just a program I had because if I didn't eat fast enough, I wasn't going to get any food. So understanding and being aware of your situation, what your patterns and habits are, and that was picked up in a pattern in a program that I picked up because it was the environment I was in. So again, being super aware of your specific situation and what you do and how your responses around food are. And you can swap the sensations. If you're on mark with all your food intake and you feel like you're hungry, there's other things you can do, okay? And in controlling the state. Go out for a walk, stretch, meditate, yoga, cold exposure, breath work. Breath work is so powerful if you guys haven't been exposed to it. It is a great tool. The, the crazy part about it is we all have the ability to do it, and it's free, and it can really change. So it pulls you back into rest, relaxation from fight or flight, and you can get a lot of euphoric components from breath work. Uh, there is some modules in the resources for you guys talking about breath work and the different resources out there that you guys have access to. Um, Number three is a grounding technique, and this is not the walking barefoot, which that is 100% good for you because it pulls down inflammation. Um, I'm always walking around barefoot outside and even in the winter, and neighbors look at me crazy. It's all good. But this is just more of like stepping back and identifying your environment and controlling your environment. Say, so this type of grounding technique is take 5 deep breaths. Notice three things you can see around you. Okay, you notice them, take them in, you're aware. Uh, Two things you can touch, right? It's physical, and what we're doing is we're getting into all the sensory components, and then obviously one you can hear. What that's going to do is pulls everything back, and it's going to pull your emotional state back. Because if we're in a state that's not in our control, we need to get back under control of that state. So this is a big one. I talk about this a lot in my guys program and its environment because if our environment is not if the environment is not conducive for success, it makes it more challenging to be successful. Not saying you can't, But what I'm talking about there is keeping trigger foods out of reach or not in present area or not have them. The other thing about environment is what does your environment look like? You know, is it conducive for you to be successful? Do you have things available where if you do need to consume the food, it's going to be more for what your desired outcome is. You know, so there's different ways that you can set yourself up for success. And reflect, don't judge, just feedback. It's we it's okay to get feedback. Feedback's important. That allows us to make a better decision. And a lot of times what we see is we get down on ourselves or get too judgy or want to have a negative self-talk. There's no reason, right? Again, language is powerful, and our unconscious mind will take that in. And what we want to always have positive self communication, right? So awareness, it kills the shame. We should have shame. Uh, if those thoughts of shame come into play, we really need to dig in and ask the question, why? Why am I having this feeling? What is correlated? What is the feeling? Is it shame? Is it guilt? Is it anger? Some of those other emotional responses may come up. And then what's the lesson? When I learn that lesson, I can let that feeling go. Again, it goes back to you having 100% control of the outcome. It's just being more aware and identifying some of the patterns that are not serving you. Refining rewards, again, uh, I've seen this built in um, around certain situations. We reward ourselves with food, so you may want to rewrite that as a program as well. Rewarding with food, reward with, alignment. Maybe you get yourself something. Maybe you go do something that you typically don't do that's special or experience. It doesn't, again, it depends on the individual. So again, feeling proud is more satisfying than a sugar rush because you're just gonna crash. Uh, So replace it with again with some of the language patterns. I deserve this to I'm building this. This is who I become. I make better choices. You know, I'm not letting food control me. So there's just a lot of ways that we can reframe and rewrite some of the language patterns and thought process we have around food. So you can celebrate a successful day with movement, sauna, or quiet time, meditation, or you know it was a stressful day according to who? You can reframe the thought process and say, wow, it seemed like it was stressful, but now I'm good and I made it through the day and everything's done for the day and you know we'll have it tomorrow. And, as long as you're not in harm's way of you know, where something is putting your life in danger, many times the stress is a response to our own thoughts. So, with that said, we can make it and control it and change and reframe some of the language patterns to let that go at the end of the day. So, and then reward progress with new gear experiences or self-care. Um, and you may want to reframe it away from food because we see that happen too often. And sometimes that's picked up from society. Sometimes that's picked up from programming from our childhood, parents, things of that nature. So, motivation. If you've been around me or some of my communication patterns within my program, I talk a lot about this because motivation is just action. We're not going to be motivated all the time. It's just a matter of being disciplined enough to do it. Just you got to get it going. You got to get up and go because motivation's going to fade. It'll come and go. Some days you're going to feel a lot better than others. But I guarantee you, if you get up and do the task that you had scheduled to do, whether it's the workout, whether it's the walk, whether it's getting your food ready, it's going to get you moving in the right direction and start building and compounding, you know, your ability to consistently do that. It will build motivation. And then, um, identity is the one that's going to last. Who do I need to become to hit these goals? Who do I need to become to make better decisions? So you're going to hear us talk a lot about identity because identity is going to be a component of some language patterns, some how you show up, how you respond to food. What does that look like? How do you manage stress? How do you communicate about stress? And again, discipline isn't a punishment. It's really protecting what matters the most to you and your decisions. Is it important enough for you to do that? That's really what what discipline is. Um, and again, this one's a tough one sometimes to think about. You don't rise to the level of your goals, you fall to the level of your standards. So if you have a certain expectation of yourself or standard of yourself, you want to make sure that you're hitting that marker point. Um, and that you set that standard and around that new identity, who shows up, who wins, who makes better decisions. So again, this is getting clear on a lot of the process of who you need to become to continue uh, make better choices, hit the marks you want, and that's getting clear on your desired goals. So again, build some of the identity around how you handle stress, how you respond. You do have control. It's how you respond to those stressful situations. Uh, the more you act from the person who has control, the easier it gets. Sometimes you just have to be more aware and say, um, is this really, really just a second.
Hey, how you doing?
Is this is this
This is
Martha?
she. I'm trying to see why it's not. Yes,
Yeah.
my computer.
Hey, just one second. You're supposed to be on a call with Aaron. I'm on a different call.
Oh, okay.
Hey, hey, I think she'd have sent it to you, Martha. I apologize.
It's okay. Let me go ahead and leave you. 1 second.
Okay.
Oh my God.
Sorry about that, June. Okay, I got to get my links figured out. I got to talk to uh, our service provider because our links are messed up. But anyway, uh, so build your identity as someone who handles stress with strength. The more you act from identity, the easier it gets. The more you can control your state and respond, the easier it gets. So instead of I need to stop stress eating, say I'm the kind of person who manages stress without the food. I have the control to make the best decision for my outcome. So there's just ways to reframe language patterns, and here's some other components around that. Shift from the emotion, action to awareness, intention. So old patterns would be stress, food, guilt. We see that. What that is, that's a pattern that you may be holding on to that you're not you haven't been aware of it, but it's there. It runs in the background, and that's why I said in the beginning of this presentation, uh, you really have to identify your patterns and be more aware and present in your emotional responses, because that's going to give you a lot more control. And then asking some of those questions to identify, some of these patterns. So, and then we have to reframe and rewrite the patterns and languages around. This is all 100% how we can reframe and build new habits into our lifestyle and get them to stick. So, new pattern, stress, awareness, choice, pride. Because I make great choices when I'm in a stressful situation, or I control stress in a very, very good format that allows me to make a better decision. So that's transformation, not restriction, but recognition. Again, recognizing it, reframing it, and identifying it is some of the battle. Um, So some of the coaching cues on this, identify one stress pattern you can reframe this week, or start in the beginning where I said, hey, be more aware of the situation, write it down. Is there emotional responses? Again, awareness is going to be key to get you guys going. And again, you're going to hear me talk about reframing a lot because it's a way. And if we're not aware, we continue down the patterns and continue to run the programming that may not be serving us. So ask some of the questions before reacting. Uh, what am I feeling right now? What do I actually need? Rest, connection, relief. You just have to identify it. What's the aligned action I can take? Again, you do have 100% control. Uh, that's one thing that you always want to remember in most situations. Now, does the shit happen? Yes. Can't help that. Sometimes we don't have control, but how we respond to certain situations, yes, we have a choice to respond, uh, and that's so powerful and important. And then here's some examples. Step out for 5 minutes, deep breathing, reset, observation, being aware, uh, body weight movements. Walking so powerful. Journal, write it down, whatever. There's multiple ways that a person can, you know, identify this, reframe it, and have better control. It's just, I think awareness, number one, how you respond in emotional situations is two, and then how you can control that emotional response or why you have an emotional response. So here are some daily practices you guys can implement. Reflection is going to be important because again, like most of us, we get busy in these programs and how we respond to certain situations is always running. And if we're unaware of the language patterns and unaware of the thinking patterns and responses, it's kind of hard to fix because it'll continue to run. So here's some examples. When did I use food for comfort today? Write some information. Hey, how can I respond to that different? Was there an emotional component connected to that? How can I reframe and rewrite that? And how can I have controlled my emotional response? Again, it doesn't have to be perfect. You guys hear me talk about this a lot. None of us are. We're not supposed to be. But what we want to do is focus on progression. We're progressing. We're always getting better at some format or learning some lesson so that way we can make better decisions. It's not perfection. And you guys already have some of these tools. We have all these tracking devices for a reason, because if we don't track again, we can't identify what's truly going on. It's only a guesstimation. Um, so being more aware of the emotional response for you, that's going to be independent, but again, awareness is the first step. And here's some, takeaways. Food isn't a problem. It's really identifying your own response to food, the mirror. When you rewrite triggers and align actions with your values, you take back control. Okay. And again, you do have a lot more control than you give yourself credit. It's not just food. It's obviously your outcome in your life, your goals, what you desire, how you want to show up. So discipline is our freedom when your habits align with who you want to become. Okay. So what you want to do is you can choose one emotional pattern, reframe it this week, new identity-based habits to replace it. I know some of the language that I'm communicating, it's more of the NLP language patterns, because to really change some of the habits, we got to identify what is our emotional response, why do we do them, try to take some of the lessons from those, and then who's the person or what's the action, and does that new action align with who I'm becoming? Or you can also rewrite it and say, I am the person that that hits my goals. I am the person who controls my state in emotional, stressful situations, who has this, control over food situations. That's all rewriting and reframing language patterns and thought processes, because a lot of this stuff, again, like I said, is going to be programs that we Um, we picked up in some format from either childhood or emotional responses in certain situations, stressful situations, how we responded, how we thought we had to respond. So again, a lot of this stuff is a little bit deeper. You can say it's kind of woo-woo stuff, but it is present and powerful. And over the years, we've seen, clients where by addressing some of these patterns and situations and emotional responses, they were more successful long term. That's one of the reasons why Aaron and I invested in the NLP training, because it helped us not only personally, but it's helped us become better coaches and really rewrite um, some of the patterns that our clients struggled with. So um, I know this is a little bit different format, but it was one of the topics that you guys had some unanimous votes on. So, you know, is there any? I'm just going to open it up and see if you have any questions, June.
We're the only ones on here.
Yeah, I think I scared everybody off. That's okay.
That's okay. No, I was just, it is, I agree with you and Aaron on that, because we talked a little bit about this in Thursday's call about
Hmm.
rewriting.
Hmm.
And I've done a little bit of that this week and it's helped. Um, because, life does get stressful and it does, you and like you said, over the years, food has always been that go-to for a lot of us.
Yeah, I
And
mean, there's a well, unfortunately, fortunately, there's a chemical response now, and it's built and it's in food, and when you have that chemical response to it, it gives you a chemical response that you sometimes want to go back and repeat, which is
yeah,
which
exactly.
is unfortunate, but it is what it is. I mean, it just,
Yeah.
how can we um, you know change some of the patterns around that?
Yeah. Well, when I first started with you guys, I went through my pantry and I just got rid of all the crap.
Yeah,
If it's not there, I won't go get it.
yeah.
So because Aaron and I had many conversations about Pop Tarts because I love a good Pop Tart. But they're just they're just full of junk, and it's just
Yes.
and and it's not easy just to eat just one. It really isn't, especially when one, you live alone,
Yep.
two,
Yep.
you know, it's late when I get off work most days, and
Yep.
it's a struggle. It really is. And so and for me, being single and living alone, I don't particularly like to cook meals for myself.
Yeah.
So I invested in the Factor 45
Oh, yep.
meals,
Yep. Yep.
and some of those, and you got to really watch which one of those you get too, because a few of those come with really high calories, and you don't
Yeah. The
want those
ratio.
higher. Yeah, you don't want those higher calories.
Yeah.
So, and my goal in all this is to get off the GLP-1. I
Okay. Yeah.
I don't want to take it the rest of my life. I just
Yeah.
don't. It's
Yeah.
expensive,
Yeah.
and I don't particularly like giving myself a shot every week. I would
Yeah.
like to get off of it and not have to, and get my mind where it's supposed to be and not rely on a drug to say, hey, to kill that food noise. And
Yeah.
that's
Yep. Yep. Yep.
a lot of what it is. It's food
Yes, I
noise.
mean,
And
I think the combination depends on your specific situation.
mhm,
I mean, the great part about that GLP-1 is the insulin response is a good thing for most
mhm,
people, because a
mhm,
lot of what happens with insulin is the sensitivity marker point in individuals can be off, and that makes it a little bit harder in the journey.
mhm,
Doesn't say you can't. It just slows stuff down.
mhm,
But the hunger response is, you're correct. It kind of shuts those pathways down a little bit or tamps it down.
mhm. Oh,
Um,
tamped it down tremendously for
yeah,
me in the beginning.
yeah,
I
yep,
mean,
yep,
it was
yep,
crazy. And
yeah,
then when I stopped using it for a few months, um, those things they turned back on.
yeah,
And I ended up putting like 20, almost 30 pounds back on. So now I think I've gotten close to getting that back off since being with you guys,
yeah,
and being back on it. but
Yeah.
I'd really just like to get rid of it altogether.
Yeah, so and some of those, so what we try to do, is give you tools to maneuver some of those responses. So,
Correct.
like higher protein will pull it down. Good sleep helps with that response. So we
Mm-hmm.
try to give you some of those tools because that's we're supposed to have that response because obviously we need to eat, right? That's just a
Correct.
reminder we need to eat. It's just um, with the food we have available nowadays, we can consume too many calories really quickly, and
Oh,
that's where we get in
yeah.
trouble. So, and that's why I said it's okay to be hungry. It's
Mm-hmm.
managing those hunger responses. Again, a few tricks for that you may have heard me say. Water consumption is one. If
Mm-hmm.
you start feeling that hunger kick in, push your water up. That may tamp it down. I've used gum, which Aaron will kill me because I start chomping on my gum.
I can't chew gum. I can't
I
stand
got you.
chewing gum.
Yeah, and she can't stand me chewing gum either, but that's okay.
Not good
Um,
for your jaws.
yeah, it's just that's a habit component. Just it's distraction, I would call it.
Yeah.
Movement's good for tamping that down too. A walk or going outside and being in nature.
Mm-hmm.
Will help kind of suppress that a little bit. But
Mm-hmm.
like I was saying in the presentation, a lot of times we have individuals so accustomed to the sensation of being full, and
Mm-hmm.
really you want to have a little bit of the opposite. You want to have a sensation of being a little bit hungry. It's just a matter of controlling that hunger and being okay with that.
Mm-hmm.
Because a lot of times what happens with individuals is so we have the response of always feeling full, and we like write that program and we think we always should be full.
Mm-hmm.
And then we get accustomed to when we do eat, we over consume.
And I do that with like, and before I would do that with like pastas and pizza, things like
Hmm.
that,
Hmm.
which it's so easy to fill up on those carbs, but it's so hard to stop eating them also when you are in that mindset.
Yep. Yep. And it, yeah, shutting off the consumption mechanism. And an interesting part is the chemical response to shut those pathways down. There's a delay.
Mm-hmm.
So again, by the time those responses hit the shut off valve, we overconsume
It's too
sometimes too.
late. Yeah,
Yes.
it's too late.
Yeah. Yeah.
You've eaten 600
Yeah.
calories more than you should have
Yeah.
in one meal.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, which is why I'm really liking these factor meals. I still get my carbs, but it's pre-portioned. I don't have to think about it.
Yeah, that's great because what they do is they'll build it around a macro breakdown or a
Mm-hmm.
calorie macro breakdown, which is
Yeah,
good. Yeah, there's nothing wrong with carbs. It's just making sure you're getting the
eating
the
the right amount
protein.
of them.
Hmm.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but it's
Yep.
so easy to overeat them.
Oh, 100%. Yep. 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 Because well, sometimes they taste good, right?
They do taste good. Donuts,
Yeah.
pasta, pizza. Yeah, it all tastes great. I mean, there's nothing, can't find anything. I mean, yeah, I've had bad pizza and I've had bad pasta,
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
it's 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 just so easy to overcook it and then, oh, it's sitting on the stove over there. You either need to put it away
Oh yeah.
or
Yeah. Yep.
and then the whole, there's just a little bit, just finish it off.
Yep.
It's just yeah.
So the stories that goes back to the story. So you just have to be aware that obviously your environment,
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah.
yeah, and then justification, because I know sometimes we justify and then we beat ourselves up for it.
Oh
So
yeah.
just being aware of those patterns and like, hey, how can we rewrite or reframe some of those patterns?
Yeah,
Um,
and that's what I've been working on because your new AI program that you came out with where you take the picture. I
yeah,
took a picture of half of a meal that I ordered from this restaurant when my friend was in town and we went to dinner.
yeah,
And I had half of it for dinner the night before and I brought the other half home.
yeah,
Well, I didn't eat all of it. I ate the protein part of it
yeah,
and left like the carb part of it sit. But then I brought home what was the other half of it and I took a picture just to see what your thing would say.
yeah, yeah,
And it still had it like over 1,000 calories. I'm like,
yeah,
oh, yeah, good thing I only ate the protein part of that, and just like two or three bites of like the fries that were there. I'm like,
Yeah.
this is crazy. I was telling Erin about it and she was like, oh my gosh.
Yeah.
But
And
yeah,
that's, yeah,
it was
that,
pretty eye-opening to see. It
yeah.
really was eye-opening.
Yeah. I mean, awareness and, you know, having the and they don't always do this, and it's not always required, but having the calories breakdown of food is really eye-opening in general.
Oh,
But
absolutely.
not all restaurants. Obviously, that's very expensive for restaurants to do because they have to to get that information.
Some
It's a
states
process.
require it. Some states
Yeah.
require
Yep.
it though.
Yeah. And I
And I
get
don't
it.
think that's required down here in
No,
Texas,
it just
but
depends.
yeah.
I get it because again, it's a burden on the business owners, but then
Mm-hmm.
obviously the consumer, if they don't know, they don't know, and
Mm-hmm.
you know the more knowledge you have around the decision you can make, it's going to be you know
Well,
up,
even a $15 salad can have a
yeah,
thousand and some calories in it. It's a bloody salad.
yeah, yeah,
But
they're
what they
tricking
pour
you.
on top is, yeah, oh yeah, what they pour on top and put in it is crazy.
Yeah, yeah, they make it taste good. Come on.
Oh yeah, they do. Yeah, they do.
Well, I mean that's good, Jen. I mean, identifying those things and reframing, rewriting, and it's you know making the best decision for your outcome, and
Mm-hmm.
and not beating yourself up. It's just more reframing, rewriting those patterns and languages,
Mm-hmm.
um, and what does that look like for you? So,
Mm-hmm.
writing some of this stuff down and you know, identifying the patterns that are going to serve you better.
Mm-hmm. Well, I'm on vacay next week, and it'll be interesting to see. I'll be taking a lot of pictures to see what meals I'm eating and what meals I'm not eating.
Yeah,
Because it's just this is my first vacay without being with working with y'all, and I'm just
yeah.
kind of curious to see how it's going to go. But
Nah, it's all.
but
Hey, so
yeah,
I would say it's all in moderation. You still want to
yeah,
get you want to get your movement in. You still want to get your water intake in. Um, and in moderation.
yeah, definitely. So but yeah, but when you're with friends and they don't have this mindset that you're trying to get into or that you've gotten into, it's really it's gonna be it's gonna I feel for me, and I'm good, and I know I need to reword this, so I got to
Yes,
figure out how to
I was
reword it.
waiting. I was waiting.
I don't want it to be a struggle.
Doesn't have
I
to be.
want and
Yeah,
I want to kind of help her too because she's got her she's got her own
yeah.
health issues,
I
but I
got
want
you.
to be I want to be a good role model too.
Yeah, yeah. Supportive.
So
Hey,
yeah.
well, I mean, I think communication is okay to sometimes communicate. Hey, I'm on this journey. Here's what I'm doing.
Oh, she knows. She's
Okay.
my best
Yeah.
friend for 30 something years, so
Okay.
she knows
Yeah.
it's a girls trip. But
Okay.
you
Yeah. Yeah.
know,
Yeah.
it's just but I'm been trying for several months to get her to get on the same journey
Yeah.
for
I got you.
herself and her goals.
Yeah.
So maybe I just want to be a light to her
Yeah. 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 Yeah.
and
Motivational component.
and
Yeah.
motivate, yeah,
Yeah.
and so we can maybe get on this journey and be a light to one another together, even though she
Yeah.
lives in Ohio and I'm here in Texas.
Yeah.
But it would
That's
be I
yeah.
just want her to be healthy.
Yeah. No, that's
And
great.
so
She's got to turn that desire on herself, and then
mhm,
you can help with the accountability component.
exactly. Exactly. So but yeah.
Well, well, awesome. What are you staying around there? You traveling?
No, I'm heading to Orlando.
Okay, yeah.
And I'm not doing any of the Disney crap, but
You get rattled by
heading to
strollers. Come on.
oh my gosh, I deal with kids on a daily because I'm a nanny,
Yeah.
so I really am not going to hang out with kids at this point. But it was one of those Hilton does those things to try to get you into timeshares,
Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah.
and
Yep.
so we got this trip. We bought it when we were on our last trip
Yeah.
last year, and then so we got it for like $325 just for the stay. I don't
Yeah.
have to go sit in on anything
Yeah.
because they changed the rules and I didn't qualify for the new rules. So that works for me. So I don't have to go sit in on anything. We still get to go there for 5 days and 4 nights in a really nice place.
No,
And
nice.
we've rented a car, so we'll probably go over to Cocoa Beach and do some of that kind of
Yeah.
stuff.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm just yeah. So that's where I'm heading. So I probably
That'd be
won't be on
fun.
any calls next week. Just so you guys know.
Okay.
But we're going Sunday to I think I come back on Sunday to Thursday. I come back. Yeah, I come back on Thursday at evening. So but yeah, it'll be fun. Gonna do
Yeah,
some
enjoy yourself.
probably
Need a break.
yeah, probably get my walking in by
Yeah,
that time.
enjoy the
She
weather
upped the
and
10,000 steps upped me to 10,000 steps, and I didn't realize she upped it. I've been trying to make the 75, and now I'm like, oh, she upped it. When did she do that? So she snuck it in on me.
there you go.
Good old
I'm
Erin.
sure you'll hit it.
I'm sure. The positive thing is that's the goal today, to hit the
Okay.
10,000.
There you go.
So just gotta get some other things done. So, but
Okay.
anyhow,
Awesome.
all
Well,
right.
June, let us know if you need any other, obviously resources and things and
Yeah, yeah,
uh,
yeah.
you know, keep being aware of those patterns and reframing, rewriting and become the
Yeah,
person you want to become.
absolutely,
All right.
absolutely.
Well,
So,
awesome,
well,
June.
thank you.
Yep. Have a great rest of your week and enjoy your vacation.
Yep, thank you so much.
All
Did you
right.
guys have a good time in Louisville?
Yeah, it's quick. It's
It
quick,
was
but it's
quick.
good. Yeah, we need to get
Yeah,
away. Well, we had two bulldogs and yeah,
yeah.
yeah, we had fun.
Oh, you took your dogs with you?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, that's
We got to
funny.
figure out boarding stuff, but yeah, we had two bulldogs and they're a little scared, but we need to get them out
Mhm.
more.
Yeah.
But
So,
yeah,
no,
it was fun. We had a
still.
good time. We got kids out and about, and they had a good time.
Mm,
So
sorry, good to know. Good to
uh,
know.
yeah. All right.
So,
Well,
thank you for the thing for the supplements.
oh yeah. Anytime. Any questions you have on those things, just never
Well, I
hesitate.
started taking the omega-3 with CoQ10 because I have that meniscus issue with
Yep.
the knee.
Yep.
So, and then I started taking the creatine, the
Yep.
and the thorn ones, which have
Yep.
been helping a lot with other things,
Yep. Good.
especially with
Good.
the whole cognitive. Felt
You know,
like I was
those
losing
are
my mind.
those are good foundational supplements.
And then what's the other one? I have a multivitamin that I take. Is there any? And I do take the vitamin D plus K.
Yep.
Is there anything else that I should be or thinking about possibly adding to the regimen? Or because I take a multi with superfood,
Yeah.
and then I take a 3-in-1. It's a pre post probiotic, and then I take the multi with superfood, and then I take the omega and the creatine, and then the DK, the vitamin D and K.
Hmm.
Is there anything else I should be thinking
I
of
mean, unless you
for my?
went in and started getting some more specific blood work. I mean, you got some foundational components covered.
Okay, I am getting some more specific some more blood work done in December
Yeah.
for the hormonal stuff. So, but
Yeah. Yeah. And and they may identify some other deficiencies, and then
okay,
they'll recommend based on that.
okay, yeah, I'm supposed to be taking a calcium pill too, and
Uh,
they're so
gotcha.
big. Ugh,
Yeah. Some of those supplements are pretty. Uh,
pretty big.
yes.
So we'll just
Yeah.
go with the word
So what?
big.
Yeah. Once you get um, some of the blood work, they should identify any other
Okay,
components that and make recommendations based upon what they see.
okay,
Yeah. So you got a good
yeah,
foundation going.
okay. And then on occasion, I will throw in because it's got 18 grams of protein in it. I will throw in a collagen peptide
Yeah.
into the
Yeah.
mix every now and again. I'll put it into like a overnight oats or something like that.
Yeah. Gotcha.
So,
Yeah.
all right. As long as I've got the basics covered, I'm good
Yeah.
then.
Yeah. You got a good
Okay.
foundation going.
All right. Good deal.
All right. We'll talk with you soon. Enjoy your
All right. Thank
vacation.
you. Thank
Hmm.
you. Have a good one.
Yep.
Bye.